All right. Modeling part 3, tuning. Once you're happy with your model's initial performance on your training dataset, the next step is to try and improve it. Like what we said in last lesson, how a car can be tuned for different styles of driving, a model can be tuned for different types of data, specifically your data. Usually, this tuning will take place on a validation data split. However, if you don't have access to a validation set due to how you've done your training, validation, and test data split, it can also happen on the training data. Well, many models have different hyperparameters which can be adjusted. You can think of these as the same as dials on an oven. For example, when you're learning to cook your favorite chicken dish, that delicious sweet honey mustard dish. I'm getting hungry making these lectures. You notice that cooking it at 180 degrees for an hour meant it came out a little raw. Not ideal, right? We want this chicken to be nice and crispy. But at 200 degrees, that's where we get the glory. That's 200 degrees for an hour, the chicken came out just right. So like a little dial here, right? This is how you can tune your oven. You can change it from 180 degrees to be 200 degrees. If you leave it on 180 degrees, chicken doesn't turn out well. If you take it up to 200 degrees, chicken does turn out well. Depending on what kind of model you're using will depend on what kind of hyperparameters you can tune. For example, a random forest will allow you to adjust the number of trees. In this one, we've got 3 trees. In this one, we've got 5 trees. Don't worry, we'll have a look at the random forest. This is a type of machine learning algorithm. We'll check this out in a future lesson. And a neural network will allow you to adjust the number of layers. Again, we'll look at a neural network in a future lesson. I'm just giving an example of different hyperparameters like the temperature on an oven you can adjust on different kinds of algorithms. The main things for you to remember are machine learning models have hyperparameters you can adjust. However, depending on what model you're going to use, the hyperparameters will be different. The goal of tuning hyperparameters is to improve your model's performance, and you should do model tuning on your training and/or validation sets. Meaning you train a model using an initial set of hyperparameters. These might be the defaults. Like say, for example, you put your chicken ingredients in the oven, you press roast chicken on the oven, and it goes for an hour on the oven's default settings. And then you find it doesn't turn out how you want it to be. You might adjust them as you go. This is exactly what you'll do with a machine learning model. You might try a machine learning model with an initial set of hyperparameters, the defaults. And it turns out it does okay, but not exactly how you want it. So you might try and improve it by adjusting some of the hyperparameters. Up next, we've got model comparison. Now this happens during your experimentation. Say you've trained multiple different models on the same data set. We're going to look at how you might compare those. And this is done on the test data. So let's do it.